80-20-365, a time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. Welcome to Living Your Life Well Planned, the 80-20-365 success system with its inventor, Adam Vincent Gilmer. I'm your host for these podcasts and video casts. I'm Gene Delightis. And as always, we urge you to go to Adam's website, 80-20-365.com, and get your daily planner. And while you're there, check out the bank system. So Adam, welcome to 63 here. In the previous episode, or if you didn't catch it, I'll just reiterate what I was saying. I've had a couple of people who've contacted me and they said they've loved the program. They listen to every podcast and they say, thanks for the coaching. It's working well. We've actually used this to be successful. And their question was, with only a few more months left in the year, these two people have reached their goals. So right now they've got a couple of months left to go before they start planning their next year, and that's what we'll be talking about in episode 64. So what should these two fantastic people, successful people who've used this system to rise to the top, what do they do for the next 90 days?
Well, I'd say what I did. I decided to help another group become millionaires because what it does is it's passing on the torch, right? So we have 17 millionaires in our group, and we're looking to push it. And it's been an interesting year with COVID, or year and a half, 2 years, whatever, with COVID. And people have to make changes. So it's not so much about them anymore or me anymore. It's about, okay, who's going to take this information and say, okay, let's put it into our lives, and who can we give it to as a gift and pass it forward? It's funny. I was watching. I get these feeds, and Jim Rohn's been dead a few years, one of my mentors, and I've had many. But whoever's running the organization still puts out, little posts here and there, what have you, right?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, so I get the post coming across, and his entire thing was about this particular quote was about discipline, and how discipline is the key. And I think that's for anybody who's already been successful, is passing on that discipline. How do you instill, maybe not the same thoughts, but the personal responsibility? How do you instill that in future generations? Gandhi had this quote that said, be the change you'd like to see, right? So I've incorporated that into my life, and I say, you can to be the change you'd like to see in this world means you need to start acting it and doing it and showing up and planning and organizing and being and inviting and doing all the things so that you can create a better place. In other words, the better place isn't for you, really. The better place is hoping that enough people consciousness kind of comes together, and they kind of go, wow, isn't it great having this life on this planet, in this crazy little world, and in a couple of episodes I talked about these other spaceships going up. Well, one of the last ship that went up, they actually did live feeds of everything, and I feel sorry for the flat Earth people, okay, because I'm like, it's time to people are going up into space and seeing the Earth is round, okay, not completely flat, and it's time to have a shift in consciousness, okay, and go, hey, you know what? The moon's round, the other planets look round. We look through the telescope. Good chance the Earth's round, and good chance that you can accomplish your goals and dreams. Good chance you can be the change you'd like to see, and good chance you can impact humanity. Jim also had a quote that he said, "Find a way to serve the many. For service to many leads to greatness." And that means coming out with that great product, a coffee cup, a smart iPhone, or whatever it is, and then coming out with something that's important. And another friend of mine the other day had quoted a quote about John Quincy Adams about freedoms and liberty and what have you. And I had to. It was emotional. His post was emotional because it touched him. So I said, oh well, he's a friend. I'll comment on it. And basically I said, look, once again, an immigrant from South Africa, went through the entire immigration process, okay? I didn't run across the border going, okay, Federelli's find me and the family. And, we went through the entire thing correctly. Okay. And it took time. Okay. Paperwork and the bureaucracy of life worlds takes time. But you know what? And it took me 7 years to get my green card. Okay. So it wasn't like I was given it right away or, given the amnesty right away. And remember, we left South Africa during apartheid, okay, and came over here. So, and I was explaining this. I said the liberties that we have, that we fight for today, is what kind of a world do you want to see? Do you want to see everything governed, by government, or would you like the freedoms that why we came to America was the freedoms to be able to build and take a company, take a great idea. Be the change you'd like to see, be the create a process that changes or touches many lives. And by doing that, you yourself become great, get other people buying into the idea. They can participate in the company, maybe going public, and maybe it's their investment that pushes it to the next level. These are all great things. And by the way, whether this is on Matt Mara's page, actually, whether we succeed or fail in that process, we're willing to risk. And I think that's my message here on this episode is, to the people that are looking to, what do we do if we're already successful? Pass on the torch. I mean, it's a great feeling to be able to have somebody else, finish the race, finish your marathon, or finish that segment there, and you pass on the torch, say, hey, listen, I've done my part. I think that's a good thing. And then you never know what else is going to pop up. As human beings, we're so creative, and we're so, we're given these incredible dreams and things. Who knows what's next? Maybe you have some other great dream that comes in and says, hey man, I got to go do this idea. And a new entrepreneurial endeavor started. And that moves people. And that's being that change, being that person. And this is the stuff I like to see happening in the people I touch.
Yeah. I've got a very an interesting question here from one of these people who've been pretty successful this year. And it kind of goes back to that expression we have in the direct sales profession is, people oftentimes tend to fail when they go from recruiting mode into management mode, and they're not bringing new people constantly into their business, and they're just sitting back. So the person had a question for Adam, and her question is, I accomplished all of my goals earlier than I thought. I'm feeling really good about myself. Can I just sort of, drift through the next 3 months? Or what would Adam tell me I should do with these next 3 months? So for that woman, and you know who you are, I've asked the question, Adam, should she just drift through the next 3 months like taking a 90-day vacation? Or what should she really do? That's kind of a biased question. What should she really do, Adam?
I mean, everybody's in different situations, but if you want to take a sabbat, look, every great architect or planner, or what have you, even, apparently God rested on the seventh day. Okay. So you've got to put things into perspective. If you've been pushing hard and this, that, and the other, and, you're balancing your life and you're making things work, sometimes I think it's good. I mean, every now and then, we're up at the, Tahoe Lake House now, and I would have loved to have taken out the kayaks and gone out there and just been scenic. But, you got to put things in perspective. Sometimes it's important that people take 90 days off or more. Okay. I mean, I watched Jim Carrey, and he's controversial, but I love it. Okay. Because, gives you some shit to think about. Okay. And he said something about the characters that we play in life and the reasons why we have to have deep rest. And he called it depressed. And sometimes, we're pushing this avatar into doing these other things that maybe, that's what we had when we dreamt up the dream, or we came up with the thought or the idea. That's what we thought was like, shit, I need to do that. Okay. And then you accomplish it. And you're like, well, now what do I do? I've accomplished this avatar. What do I do next? Well, like any great painter or artist or sculptor or anybody who's been successful, they didn't just stop. They maybe took some time off, and they said, okay, they readjusted, and they got serious about, hey, here's where I'm going again. I came back from Mexico, Cabo here about 4 months ago, which was our first international trip during this whole crazy COVID stuff. And I flew down there, and I met some people that were doing these for some really big people, these online funnels, right? Driving people in, and because of COVID and what have you. And so I invested. I put in some money, and now I'm like, I've got this whole new thing. I'm like, once again, what are my plans? So I've got my own, goals and dreams for 2022 and beyond. But it comes down for other people. As I said, you've got to go with the great thing about life is it's going to bump you into people, right? The great thing about travel or hanging out or what have you is you bump into people, and maybe you hear some other fresh new thing that you didn't think of, and you're like, hey, I'd like to get involved with that, like the Shark Tank. Like a whole bunch of people come and pitch these great ideas, and the sharks sit back and go, that's good, this is good, that sucks, what have you, hey, here's what we'll give you for the company, or here's your evaluation, or what have you. And they get into a new idea. And I think that I don't think the person's going to be done for the rest of their lives, meaning that, hey, I've accomplished my goals and dreams, I'm done, that's it, I'm going to completely chill out. I think that's good for a time, and then you're going to get bored with that, because active people tend to be like, I've been doing nothing for 90 days or 6 months. What am I going to do now?
I think you're going to keep this woman on track. So thanks for that answer. Hey, listen, coming up in our next episode, what I'd like to talk about is, and again, we've mentioned this a couple of times over the previous episodes. If you're catching this in sort of real time, we're down close to the end of September. So when we return, I want to talk about when people should start planning their next year, and what exactly does that look like? Whenever I talk to Adam towards the end of the year, he's at his cabin in Tahoe, which is where he is right now. That's because you're seeing a different background. Adam always says, I got all my papers in front of me, and I'm planning this, and I'm writing this. So in our next episode, Adam, we're going to start talking about when you start planning your next year and what it all looks like.
Awesome.
All right. Coming up, episode 64. This is Living Your Life Well Planned with Adam Vincent Gilmer and me, Gene Velitis. 80-20-365. A time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. 80-20-365. Living your life well planned.